dark blue but with different colors.
Oh, you did? Ah, I know the one. She sold my hat. Tamara did. We're still stuck in vertical mode. All right, now you have to look from last week to see which one's missing. It was sitting about there. I know the one. It's the one that had the stripe. There's like a stripe at the bottom, but it was so subtle because I didn't have enough yarn to finish it with, but I had one in a different shade. Ah, it was tricky. We're in the shop. I can show you what I did. Look what Tamara's been doing. Haha. She carved those out of laminate first and then prints these. And they're a hit in the store. Haha. I got a new embroidery done. It's an even bigger one than the one I gave Audra. Sorry, Audra. I just finished it yesterday, or 2 days ago maybe. And then we got Lila's plant dyed and hand spun wool in the store because she's at the end of her season. So we said, can we please have your leftovers on commission? You can see what they look like, yeah. There we are. So what's the neutral git? I was trying to write neutral gift and I wrote neutral git and said honey is the perfect neutral git. I don't know if Torben appreciated that I called his honey a neutral git. The perfect gift for a neutral git. This one I finished. This one you can see I did chain stitch instead of the seed stitch, but that's mommin'. The chain stitch just goes faster. Or it was stem stitch. I did it in the first one. It was the original's in stem stitch, which is what that one is. That's stem stitch. So the original mommin is in stem stitch. Both of those are mommin, but this one is done with chain and it's done. And I think I showed these. This one is kind of cool because it's the Volknut, but it's in madder, and this is the first bath, second bath, third bath. And then that's the Triskelion, I think if I said that, Triskelion. And I finished that one. Oh yeah, and I went down there. Okay, now it's enough show and tell. We're gonna go in the village, but we're stuck in vertical mode. I am so sorry. See you tomorrow. Okay, we have some Americans in the village today on a private thing, so we'll try to avoid them. But we're having nice weather. The sun has just gone down behind that wall over there. So today we're not doing stitches, but we're going to continue with the connection stitches. Well, it might have a name change, but sometimes the change of the connection stitch changes the name, like Mommin versus Corgan. Mommin is F2 while Corgan is F1, but otherwise they're worked completely the same. So I just have to see where everybody else is and find a different place to sit. Oh, that's where they're playing with the light over by the Chieftain Hall. Then we'll go uphill today. There we are. Okay, so we're having nice weather. It's cool, definitely. For a little while you could see your breath, but it's not raining. And I see some of you written in the weather in there, so if you haven't done it, you got to do it. Where are you from and what's the weather like? Or where are you today, maybe? Okay, we'll sit up on the rock here, I think. We had big avalanches this week. Well, I mean, we get avalanches all the time, so yay, nothing new. But this time we had 5 of them, about 4 or 5 of them go off at the same time on Monday because we had buckets and buckets of rain. I put a little video on Viking Valley Facebook page if you want to see Roger dancing in the rain. That one went off. And by the way, that one went off and went all the way down to the fjord and left a big pile down at the water level. That one went off. See, that one was going off, mud. But we also had, I'm going too fast, sorry. We had 1 or 2 of them going from here. And just around there, okay, so the mountain goes like this, or the road goes around like that, and then you go around one more. But just right at that point over there was one that was so big, it caused the road to be closed for 3 days. It did about 5 meters deep worth of small rocks. So that took a little while to clear up. Hej! Ska dere filma här uppe?
Jag ska tissa.
Ja, det får du lov till. Men jag ska inte vara i vägen för det för jag bara filmar till klockan 7.
Ska jag vara upp då? Är det bara... Jag ska ligga till lite stämningslys och så.
Ja, där har du gått tid. Okay, yeah. Sailing Viking, if you don't know, that's who that was. But you don't get to see him. You have to go look him up on Instagram. Okay. But they're going to do some filming. So we'll sit here and play with connection stitches. I got a little further on the spiral hat. This one is the, oops, sorry, got my shawl caught on the gimbal. So that's the spiral hat. It's almost done now. You can see how it's spiraling along. I've been doing one color at a time. So when this one catches up to here, then I got to do this one. However, when I get to the end, I got to be a little careful because I want them to end in 3 different places so it's the same height. So one will end maybe here, one there, and one there or something. So, and then I'll wind them in. And that one's done with just simple Cortine yarn. The hills are alive, but not with the sound of music. Well, some people were calling it music, but I like avalanches, so I'm in the right city, shall we say. You know, city, village, town. Okay, so we can play with this yarn. Let's see. I don't know if I showed these off. Got to do a little show and tell. These are the wrist warmers I made for Anders Hovland for mowing my lawn. Not the blacksmith, but different Anders. He's actually on Instagram now. Viking Jeweler Trader, I believe it's called, with a bunch of silver. And you can see him. He's got the pointy hat, and because of the pointy hat, I have to make a lot of pointy hats because every time he wears them in the village, someone asks. So these are the wrist warmers. They need to go like about 2 more rows, and they're done for him. And of course, I need to weave in this spot. It's every single time when I make them, I have to weave these in a little bit right at the join because that's where it splits. So, but these are super soft. But I ran out. This is the yarn chicken fail. Hey, Runa! Oh, we gotta sit with Runa. Okay, did you bring any musical instruments with you? Bastard. Show off your new shirt. Hey! It's a Viborg shirt, isn't it? I think it was either Schuldenham or Viborg, I forget. Schuldenham, sorry. Oh yeah, because it's got the square in the middle, and it's actually made of how many pieces is that? Like 20 something?
Yeah, it's many pieces.
Many pieces. You can see there's a seam there, there. Lift up your arms. Show us the armpit. There's another square there.
This, everything.
Yeah, and you got the closure. If you can see, it's like 2 squares overlapping, but it's actually not a square. It's cut out of the triangle like that. Yeah.
Very clever.
Are you looking clever? Okay, you want to see what you look like? Your sister's on, by the way. She's got stars in her eyes and everything. Now, let's see, we'll turn it around so they can hear you. Ah, it's going slowly, but we're getting there. Ta-da! Anything you want to say to your sister who's been missing you?
Hello. You're doing fine. Vi har det fint.
Du har det fint, yeah.
Yeah.
Where, and you got a present you picked up something this week.
Yeah?
Yeah, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, she knows.
She knows.
Yeah,
Does
yeah.
everybody else know?
No, but it's not. This is not public.
Nope, it's not public. Okay, anyway,
Yeah,
but Runa's
yeah.
happier these days.
Yeah,
When are you going to come and play with us again? Oops, sorry, I took it off of
I
you.
don't know yet.
That way, back way. We need you to play more music.
Yeah, maybe if we get Louisa to come one time.
Yeah?
Yeah.
She can play.
Yeah.
If you remember Louisa the tall one, we have another Louisa, but she's the short one. But Louisa the tall one plays the flute, and she played, she played so many different instruments.
Yeah.
She was playing the drum, and she was playing
Then harp also.
the jaw harp, yeah. And
She's my wife.
that's what I was trying to announce,
yeah,
you
okay,
nub. I don't know
yeah.
what the hell you were thinking of.
No.
Yes, Runa's a married man now. Sorry, ladies, hands off. Louisa the Tall has captured his heart. Now you're all blushy. It's kind of cute.
Yeah.
I don't know what secret you had anyway, but that's what
No,
I was going. That was my secret.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll turn it back and then. Oh my God, my gimbal's stuck now. We're like really going.
It's cold.
It's a little cold. Not too bad, but I'm still barefoot. See.
Hello.
Bye-bye. And my not-so-Viking shoes today. So it's cold for everyone, but not for a Minnesotan. Oh, I forget what the temperature's like today. Hvor er ringen? Skriver søstera di. He's working on it. She asks, where's the ring? He's working on it. That's the Viborg shirt. Yeah, that's what I thought. Scholdenham is the hood that's like mine, by the way. Okay. Yeah, he didn't get married in the village, but I'm sure that's just a matter of time before we throw a little ceremony for him here. He's kind of a private person, but sometimes we just like to throw him under the bus as much as we want. There we go, we're focused. Okay, anyway, so I'll catch up a little bit on chat too. I have to release my needle from the string here. So yeah, I have to finish these, but I played Yarn Chicken and lost. I saw that Ashley played Yarn Chicken and won. Congratulations. Basically, you have a certain amount of yarn, and that's all you've got of it. And if you finish your project and haven't just make it enough yarn, then you won at Yarn Chicken. But if you don't have enough, then you lose at Yarn Chicken, and I pretty much did. This is about all I have left of it is that. So this is a different yarn, which is a very close matching color, but it is not as soft. There's no alpaca in this one, and silk in this one. The other one has one. So I'll finish off the last couple of rows with that one. Until then, we'll play with it. Happy days for Runa, yep. So Ashley, congratulations on winning at Yarn Chicken. Half of us will say you suck, and the other half will be jealous as hell, because we're all jealous as hell, really. So there you are, playing chicken with a ball of yarn, trying to finish a project with just a certain amount. Oops, sorry, I tipped my phone. And you either win or you don't. Okay, so then I will put some Oslo stitches on and catch up here. See, oh, yep, Garcia was first. Yay, Garcia caught me when I was just about done making it. Matthew's here from Egan. Charlotte's here from Bergen. Raymond, oh, by the way, Garcia's from Holland. Raymond is here from Upside Down Land. They're just starting their summer vacation. We're starting to see more and more Australians now. Charlotte's here, and Susan's here. Susan Youngman is here as well. Let's see. Max is here. Amro's here. Torben is here. About the neutral git. JD is here. Hello. Sue says, I went on a yarn crawl last week and got a bunch of hand-spun alpaca yarn from a local alpaca farm. I'm trying to figure out how to dye it now. I'm so stoked. Okay, I've heard of beer crawls, pub crawls, but oh my God, I have to join a yarn crawl. That sounds expensive, by the way. I could probably get drunker off of yarn than I could off of beer. Raymond says, colors. He's talking about the yarn that we saw. Max says, what stitch are we going to do today? She's currently working on a pair of mittens using the Dalby stitch. Well, I'm going to watch what I'm doing here. Well, we're still playing with connections. There were so many we didn't get to all of them. Well, there's a gazillion connections. Inge Anderson is doing a big thing on connection stitches, and she's well into the triple digits now. Sue says it's supposed to be 71 in San Diego, California, but it's super cloudy right now. And we're actually having still pretty beautiful weather here. Let's see. But we're still stuck in vertical mode for some reason. Let's see, I have to fix my gimbal. Hi, Tour! There's a tour coming up the road there. Oh, but we're having pretty beautiful weather, although the sun has officially set. We're watching you arrive. Show off your Corgan. I have to see your Corgan. Your Corgan. Your yeah. It's so cool. Oh my God, you're getting more blingy by the minute. I can't afford to be around you anymore. You're still a slave. Oh, okay, that's good. Okay, we'll put you back down here. Let's see. Tor is a Norwegian that is here helping us out in the fall. Let's see. And hello from Trinidad. Kaya is here. And Lear is here, of course. Kaya is Karl's sister. Karl will be out in a little bit. And then we'll have him drink more Lithuanian beer with no bananas in it and see how he does. Okay, so we'll do Oslo. We did M1, which is the middle one. We did regular forward front one, F1 and F2. We did back one, I believe. I'm just getting some Oslo stitches on here. Let's see, what else did we do? Well, we did F1B1, but not on the last one, but we did it the week before when we were talking about the caribou stitch that Justin had. Then we did Maria's, what was it, B1M1 or BM1? That was it, back medium one. That was a really cool effect, by the way. I still have that sample here. Not for the faint of heart, but after a couple of rows, it starts looking like this. More and more squished like that, which was quite cool and super thick. We could do the Oslo one. Albert says, at work yesterday, he had about 2 tons of fabric come through. Who has been ordering? Oh, we had the lady here from Score Textile, which is SKAAR Textile maybe, .no. Textile might be spelled TEKSTIL.no. Anyway, and she left us with a bunch of samples, and oh my God, I hope we can order those one day, but right now we're in the off season. Torben says, I drank most of the beer in the universe yesterday. It's called, the most boring beer in the universe yesterday is called Remember Me. Oh, that is so bad. That's like a dad joke. Listen to the pod for the full review. Oh yeah, Torben's podcast is back up. Karantena pils in Norwegian. You have to type that out on there. Unfortunately, you have to understand Sogndal-dialekten in the dialect from Sogndal in Norwegian. But it's quite fun. Where he and his friends from the area, but although they're spread out all over Norway now, they join together and do a podcast and rip apart beer left and right. Sometimes they like the beer, though. Interesting name, but shame that I was boring. the Remember Me. Hey, Georg. How'd it go with the axes? Yeah, you want to say hi? We're after hours, so we know you have a grocery bag. There he is. He's looking beautiful.
Sure.
Did you get anything new at the market?
I don't think so.
I got a cup. The one I broke
yeah,
a couple
I got
years
2
ago.
cups,
Did you get
but-
cups too?
Yeah,
Did you get yours from, was it Olden Spear? I got mine. Where'd you get yours?
I got mine from the old couple.
Oh, they were so cute. I forget what the
I
name of
wasn't
their
allowed to
tent
pay
was,
for
but...
them.
Huh?
I wasn't allowed to pay
You weren't
for
allowed to
them.
pay for them? Man, Odin Beast... Oops, there you're off camera. Odin's Beast happily, or Odin Spear happily took my money. No, I think they remember when I was next to him once. Plus, I had to make him hide crossbows. So, I would have charged me too.
I haven't locked up the hole.
No, but I
Because
can
they
do that.
want to borrow the...
Mm.
I let him have some spots and
Yeah.
use it for electricity.
No, I can take that after. So, they say hi, by the way.
Yes. hi.
Quarantena pills, writes Torben. Have you ever heard of Torben's podcast, Quarantena pills?
No.
Oh, you have to watch it. Or listen to it. It's funny. He's the one that we declared a family member because Karl and I don't have much family visiting. So he comes with the little kid and talk to the chickens and the sheep, and then they go home, and then they come back and do it again a little later. Yep. Anyway, so he has a podcast you have to see. Al Bundy, hello from Norway. I like Al Bundy's name on here. Do you think it's the real Al Bundy? No? It's probably not.
Does he still exist?
Al Bundy still exists, yeah. Even in the Viking Age, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
No, anyway. The market went really well. I have to say thank you for a great market.
Yes.
What was your favorite part?
God. I think, well, one of my favorite parts was Eva.
Yeah, Ava, because she did some administrating like nobody's business.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I was so happy to not have to do that this year. So
Yeah.
I like Ava too. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, me too.
Oops, there
I
you
knew
are.
that's the main part of the market to
Yeah.
know who was there.
Oh yeah, no, that's
Now-
hard.
And now I got every single email and every single phone number.
I already have one person wanting to reserve a house for next year.
Right.
I told her I'll let somebody know as soon as we know when and what.
I have sent an application to Toril for date
Yeah, then good luck. We'll cross our fingers and hope.
the weekend after Midgardsblot.
That would be fun. That might be still in August though, so it's a hard
Yeah.
one. Because then you're competing with all the cruise
Around
ships.
the 20th of August.
Yeah. I wish you luck. That's going to be a hard one. But you might. Never know.
Well, I said if you say yes, then you don't have. Then you can say it now. If you
Yeah.
don't know, then don't say anything.
No, exactly.
Take it up with the board first.
Yep.
And she hasn't said anything, so
I'll put this one down.
we will see.
We will see. Well, cross your fingers for you because there's a lot of people still in Norway after Midgardsblot too.
exactly. That's
So-
what, and then they're going to Jarlstad afterwards.
Yeah.
After Gudvangen.
Oh, if you can pull it off. I wish you luck. That's a tough month, though, because she's got all the cruise ships. So.
Yeah, but that's what the
Yeah.
salespeople will want.
Of course they do.
They want
Okay.
people.
I have to needle bind some more, but thank you.
Yeah.
It was good to see you.
Had a couple of ladies in yesterday.
Needle binding?
Going to check you out.
Ah, yeah, there was one that was in the store. She's like, I saw you on YouTube. And I thought, oh, that was you. And then poor Karl had a doctor's appointment, so she missed it. She
Two
missed
American
Karl.
ladies that really
Oh, really?
didn't know, and had never heard about needle binding. I let them have my hat, and they were,
Yeah.
oh, I'd love to learn this. And I said, well,
Well, we'll teach you.
ask for Karin in the shop. And,
They might have, actually,
just,
yeah.
Just look on YouTube, and I guess you'll find her if you put needle binding in there.
Oh, yeah, you'll find it somewhere. Viking and needle binding and Gudvangen, and we'll get there. Yeah. Now we're playing with connection stitches, and then Karl
Going
comes out
home
for
to
beer.
make dinner for Tore.
Ooh,
I'm
nice.
Teach him my game tonight.
Oh, you're gonna play the game. What's the game of your game again?
Sight.
Scythe, Scythe. If you haven't seen it, you have to check it out because it looks a lot like him.
Yeah,
It's
that's
a board game though, but
Yeah.
it's a complex board game that has a lot of pieces to it.
Well, basically it cost $80.
$80? Oh, that's not too bad for a game these days.
Mine has passed 1,000.
Oh my God! Yeah, no, because you got all the little add-ons.
Yeah. And have spent some money getting my bits painted.
Oh, that's fair, because you can paint the pieces a bit like we do with the. Huh? Oh, there you go.
So,
Okay, I better needle bind because Karl's coming to drink.
oh yeah. Mine needs a new hat.
Karl needs a new. Oh, I know. I just fixed that hat. They say hi, by the way. Hi, Herbding.
Have a good evening.
You too. Al Bundy's not. It's not Al Bundy, but he's a fan. He says. And Kiwi's here, by the way. Okay, I'll turn it around. We can say hi to Karl. Are you ready for your beer?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna do a connection stitch. Then you can have a beer. But I forget which one we were doing. We did M1. So what's another connection stitch that we haven't tried? This was M1 for the middle.
Just to mention it, my glass is wet right now, but it will dry out if it takes out too much time, and then the German guy will be upset with me again.
Because your glass has to be wet before you get beer in there?
Yes.
Okay, fine. We did M1 this way. We did F1 this way. We did F2. I'm going to do M1 from this way, I think. From top down M1, just to see what happens. Then I'll have to do this for a couple rows, which will make Karl very happy so he can drink his damn beer while I get some more stitches made. Quarantena Pills is back up again, Karl, so we have to see.
Nice one.
Did you see he had a really boring beer called Remember Me? That's so cheesy. That's a dad joke worthy one. This is middle one. And then Oslo. Hail the All-Father, says Al Bundy. Kiwi says, I haven't really done any needle binding this week. I started learning to spin with a distaff and medieval spindle, though. I can do a distaff if I don't have to hold the damn thing, but if it's standing up, then I'm good at a distaff. But I still got to work on that. So kudos to you for getting it. Okay, Karl, you need beer. I'm going to keep doing this M1, but from the top down this way, just to see what it does. So I'll get a couple rows going, and then we'll take a look. This is your beer from Audra. It is, oh, look at him trying to grab it. Vilnius, it's the capital of Lithuania, by the way. Dubel, and you have to read what it is.
Double Belgium. So it's like both of Mark subs.
So it's like Lithuania's version of Belgian beer? And then you can pour it into a wet glass, and then Jay will be very pleased of you. You want to see? Is it the cap is interesting? It's a twist off.
Yeah, but
That's like an American beer.
no, it's Belgian, Lithuanian. American, with an American cap.
No, I mean ours are. Let's see. I'll turn this around here so they can hear you a little better. But your job is to make sure you're in view because I can't see you. There. Can we see you? Oops. Up. There. Okay, I'm doing my stitch. You talk. It's dark.
Do you smell the banana?
I do not smell any bananas in there. She said there are no bananas in Lithuanian beer. It's caramelized.
Yeah, it smells like banana.
You look happy. You don't have to drink it all in one go. We've discussed this. You're looking rather frothy today. Okay, apparently he likes it.
Belgium and Lithuania should cooperate more often.
Okay, I want you to tell us a story. You were talking about you had a little weapons meeting with the Americans that were here today, and one of the things that you have with you, it looks like a blunt weapon, but this is unique because you made this.
Let's call it unique. I'm not sure if I'm the only one who has thought about this. Probably not, but I haven't heard about it from anybody else. The head of this staff is based on a find from Sweden. And yes, it could be a walking stick. It could be some religious ceremonial doohickey. But I would say it could also very much be a weapon. Notice the really aggressive hairdo on this guy.
It's Elvis.
And this thing also has some heft to it. It's not so heavy it's unoperationable. But if you hit somebody with it, snap. You would feel that on your head or your chainmail or wherever. So I strongly suspect that this is basically a mace head. And even if it is a walking staff head, and you're walking around with your staff and you didn't follow the advice in Havamal about keeping your weapons close to you, as long as you have this one, you're not completely alarmed. And then you put some bells on it to warn people.
You can hear you coming, or you just that want to be the last thing you hear before you get knocked out.
Mm.
Yeah. But yours is shinier than the one we have in the store.
Yeah,
We sell
because
the top of that anyway, but
it seems to be a thing with Viking reenactors and some tourists that I want things to look as old as humanly possible. Because 1,000 years ago, 1,000-year-old things were 1,000 years old, obviously. Or they were brand new 1,000 years ago and they've just aged 1,000 years since then. So I think that the Vikings liked shiny stuff. So if you can make something shiny, you would make it shiny. And these ones, the one we sell in the shop, are brown. But if you polish them a little bit, they become like this. So almost gold in color.
yeah, that's quite cool. I think Greg was jealous when he saw what you made with that. Okay, what other weapons did you talk about today?
All of them.
All of them. But you normally cover the Dane axe, the spear, and the sword, and the skirmish axe?
No, not the
No.
skirmish axe.
Okay, so you covered but today you talked about the skirmish axe?
Today I talked about every weapon I could think of, even the elusive Otgeir.
What's that?
Who knows?
Seriously?
No, but that is actually true. Nobody knows exactly what the Otgeir is. I have a very strong suspicion it's a spear with very big head, so almost like a short sword mounted on a spear shaft. There are some finds of them from the Viking Age, but these days they're just classified as spears. We know from the sagas that the Otgeir has a wooden shaft because Egil Skallagrimsson cut the shaft off of its Otgeir before he had to swim to an island. We know it can be thrown. We know it makes a whistling sound in the air. We know it can be used from horseback. And we know that Egil Skallagrimsson's father used it to decapitate the guy. So I would say the only thing that fits with all of these things is almost Naginata-like spear. So a spear with a short sword with cutting edges at the end of it. So like our winged spear, but much bigger, maybe twice as big. The head is maybe twice as big or even bigger than that.
Okay, and then you talked about, you had the javelin out.
Yeah.
But then so you talked about the javelin. We threw that a while before. We all know that I'm the best javelin thrower, by the way, from previous episodes, or the luckiest. But the tip, of course, of the head of it came off.
Yeah.
because we're having issues finding glue, and it only took like 3 or 4 throws. The tourist was throwing it this time, not me.
Yeah. Now it has to do with how they pull it out more than it has to do with how it is connected.
Yeah.
Because you get a lot of twerk.
I'm sorry,
is
what?
not the correct word. Torque. When you pull something on the something on the long shaft, if you pull it from the end, you are using a lot more force than you should, and it's very easy to pull the head out of the socket instead of pulling the head out of the target. Unless you grab the head. It's the same thing with bows and arrows. The reason we don't let the tourists go and pick their own arrows is because they would break half of them.
Yeah, they pull it from the shaft and then it just snaps, depending on how deep the arrow went in. What others did you talk about today?
So let's see. I talked about swords, the Norwegian long axe, the typical Viking sword, the elusive Ulfbert swords. I showed off my sharp sword.
Yeah.
And I talked about the Skarmas axe. I talked about the axes, the Dane axes, and the cross axes from late Viking Age. That's a kind of an annoying thing, but I get it. The cross axe is an axe that has removed a lot of the material in the head, and then on the originals there is a little Christian cross coming out in the center of this. We have 2 of them here, and because one of my co-workers don't like Christianity much, he always removes the top bit of the cross so it looks like a hammer of Thor.
Oh.
And I get it, but the original finds had crosses on them, and they are from the late Viking Age, so that would be a very, very effective way to get very unpopular very quickly.
Yeah.
Walking around with the Thor's hammer on your cross axe.
Oh yeah. By the way, once about the javelin that I was going to say, we would thought, I noticed that the spears, they're not mounted with glue, but they are mounted with like a pin that goes through the bottom of it, of the metal head. Would this javelin do the same thing? I was asking you about that earlier.
Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah.
In the Vikings at War book by Kim Jardar, some of the javelins head I've noticed have very, very long sockets. So it might be that they were just glued.
Yeah.
I don't know. And also you kind of expect the wood to be replaceable. If you win a battle and you break your javelin but you still have the javelin head, you can always put a new shaft on it. And if you lose the battle, it doesn't really matter one way or another if the javelin is whole or not.
Then I have to ask you again about the Afghan. How do you, okay, so if you don't know what the weapon is, because you haven't, fallen scene or whatever, how do you know about the name?
Sagas.
Sagas.
In one of the sagas, it's kind of a famous story. I don't remember which saga it's from, but it's one of these eternal blood feuds on Iceland. And some guys is seeking out to kill another guy. And they send one guy to climb on top of his roof and look down the smoke hole to see if he is home. And this guy is home, and he is very much hearing that somebody is mucking about on his roof. So he just goes beneath the smoke hole, and then he shoves his atgeir through the roof and stabs the guy. So he gets a mortal wound, and he just barely manages to get off the roof, and he walks back to his companions, and they go, okay, was he there? And he basically says, I can't say for sure, but his atgeir certainly was, and then he falls over dead.
Okay, I got needle binding.
But
How do you enjoying your beer?
Also mentioned, it seems to be the favorite weapon of both Egil Skallagrimson and his father, and at least one of the guys in the Burnt Njal saga. And that's another indication it's a spear-like thing, because if I don't misremember correctly, that guy used his atgeir to mount his horse, so he's basically pole vaulting onto his horse.
Jesus. Okay, I'm gonna flip you around here, and then let's see. I got some needle binding. We got some questions too I can ask you. Hello. I'm dressed a little bit more warmly today. Where are we? Oh, it's Roshna Safi. We are in Viking Valley, Gudvangen. It looks a bit like this after hours. This is up the hill though, so the majority of the village is below us. And it's in Gudvangen, which means we have amazing waterfalls, mountains, and views. For example, if that doesn't flip, and then you've got behind us, because I can do the Instagram thing. You know where your face takes 80% of the picture and you show what's going on behind you? I'm Instagram. Oh, I'm sorry, wait. You gotta look like a cat on a toilet. I'm not very good at Instagram. But anyway, that's behind us. It goes way up. So it's kind of like, I'd like to explain it like being a dog food bowl and you're an ant. It goes up in every direction. But that's where we are. It's about 2.5 hours northeast of Bergen, 5.5 hours west of Oslo in southern Norway, near the west. Okay, I'll turn this back again. Oops, sorry, back here. And then I'll catch up on some more. Can Karl, I know a great few finds of along 50 centimeter long spearheads. I can send Karl a list of someone made of them. Yeah. Kiwi said, started reading Silk for the Vikings by Mariana Vedeler. I thought we had that book, but I don't know if we still do. Silk for the Vikings?
But I know we had it in the shop,
Yeah, I think, at least we have, I had it. If we don't have it, we could easily get it again, but it might not be till next season. I think we have it. Maybe one or two. Anyway, very interesting, especially since I'm interested in making an outfit inspired by the woman's grave from Vecka, which is Voss, which is about 40 minutes that way, south of us, and it features silk. Oh, that would be so cool to see. Sue says, this is another way we're talking about the glue. Did they use pine resin glue or anything similar by any chance, Karl? When we're talking about putting the javelin head on there.
I think fish glue was popular in the Viking Age.
Yeah, explain how do you make that?
You boil the bones and the skin of fish for a long time, and the thing that floats up is very good glue.
Like fatty or something, but it's not fat.
Apparently, when a horse doesn't perform as expected, you threaten it with the glue factory. And I believe it's the same process with bone, but I think it is easier with fish.
Yeah. Oh, okay. What else would they have? Well, pine resin. They would use that as a glue as well, or?
Maybe,
but maybe not for the javelin.
This is things I'm almost certain somebody has done the research and analyzed the residues. So this is something that is Googleable. But I honestly can't answer it off the top of my head.
You might have stumped him. You got homework.
I think fish glue was the predominant glue of the Viking Age. But I might just be misinformed. That's entirely possible.
What about tar?
Tar isn't gluey enough.
No.
I don't think I would use that as a gluing agent.
Yeah. What other things did they use for gluing agents? Not necessarily for weapon.
I don't know, but I'm tempted to just say fish glue every time because I can't see a reason. I can't see a reason why you wouldn't use it because it is so good.
No, but then we got homework for you. Yay! It's hard to stump Karl, but I think he kind of got that 50%. Let's see. Kiwi says, the book isn't available as a physical copy, but luckily it's available on Kindle. Okay. I remember the title anyway. Of that one. Let's see. Raymond said, Karl is doing a version of Sesame Street sketch. What's that, Karin? I can't hear you. I have a banana in my beer. Yeah, speaking of, how much percent? 6.5%. Okay.
Yeah, my hat
so you're not going to be
fallen off once so far. So.
Yeah. Your hat has only fallen off once? I didn't even see it fall off.
No, you were filming mountains at the time.
I was filming mountains. If you drink that too quickly, you're going to run out. No, he's enjoying his beer. So, would you like to say thank you, Audra? She's got you in beer for a while, a couple of weeks now. She brought that Lithuanian beer for him to try. Let's see. Garcia says, I'm reading a little bit backwards here. I think Dubel is exactly Belgian. Maybe they produce it now in Lithuania. Oh, it says Vilnius on there, but it says Belgian. Vilnius, Belgian. Let's see. I'm not even going to be able to pronounce half that crap. But it says caramelized sugar syrup, no bananas. Ingredients: water, barley, malt, caramelized sugar syrup, hops, magnum, and Styrian Goldings. And Jesus, I can't pronounce it. It is actually Lithuanian, though, by the way. Lithuanian. So there you go. But yet, maybe it's the Belgian kind of beer that they're... Oops, I dropped that. Okay, I'm going to flip it around. We'll play with some needle binding, and I'll read a couple more things I might have missed. Let's see. There we go. Audra says hello. And that thing, by the way, you made there is awesome, says Suze. Let's see. Charlotte said she went to a meeting today with Björgvin Marknad. We had Tove's cake with sage. Oh, Tove's great. Okay, then I will see. Okay, so now I finished my. Oh, yeah. Nella says Silk for the Viking is available as paperback.com at Oxbow Books. I think we have it. I'm going to have to check. I thought we had for sure we had 2, but then again, it's not a fast moving book, so we might have gotten it a couple of years ago.
It is, we have so many books that are very niche, and this is one of them.
That's one of them, yeah.
Not quite as bad as Quarrying in Western Norway.
Quarrying in Western Norway, yeah. If you ever need that book, we got lots. It's in English, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, so
the title should tell you.
This looks really cool. This is the beginning. This is where I ended off, and this is, I think I've done 1, 2, 3 rows. But this is what M1. So if I had this back on my thumb, M1 from the top down, not bottom up, but top down, and then you do your stitch, and these are the middle ones. So it looks kind of like that. It's a bit like Dollarna in the way it acts. And if you flip it inside out, it looks a lot like Maria's stitch that we talked about last week, that connection. It looks kind of got that spiral thing going. So there you go. M1 from the top down. But it looks quite cool. That would be a really warm hat too, because it's kind of thick. And normal Oslo, by the way, if you're not familiar, normal Oslo looks like this. Although this is 3 different yarns, so it's kind of hard to see the stitch pattern. Let's see, put that there. And then, to compare it to Dollarna, which is what these things were, it starts looking a bit more like Dollarna, but Dollarna is actually thinner than this. All depends on how you tension it, I suppose. So I'm going to do another one. I got my little row started, but I made it extra long this time because it's going to be thicker, or it's going to be thicker when I use this connection. And for some reason, I cannot remember the name of the connection, but it's the one for Osla stitch, where you're, I think it's at bottom one and then top one, so bottom one, F1. But there, so you take the bottom and the top, and this is going to squish your row together, so it's going to get really thick really fast. And then do your stitch. So somebody correct me before I say it wrong. How do you mark that one? Is it F1, B1 or something? B1, F1, I forget. But it's the bottom, and here's where it can get tricky. You get not that one, that one. And yes, I'm using the massive needle today. Not for the faint of heart, and not for the thin and tight yarn stitches. Let's see. I was showing a lady as to why I prefer longer needles. I said a lot of people tend to get needles that are about the length of their forefinger. It just seems to be more familiar to them. But the reason I like longer needles is because I have carpal tunnel syndrome, which means I can lose feeling in my fingers. And if I have a short needle, I have a hard time grabbing them. So if I have a long needle, I have a lot to grab onto. That's why I use long needles. No other reason. So there we go. Underneath, and then the top. But we're still on the front. We haven't gone behind anyway.
I'm not jumping into this rabbit hole.
Oh, did I jump into a rabbit hole today? Which, by the way, you said a few things on the axe throwing station today that had me wondering. You've said some things on the axe throwing station today that really have me biting my tongue on not saying that's what she said. Yeah, just a little bit harder. That ought to do it. What else did you say today?
I told you about the old American couple I had on axe throwing.
No.
The woman was grabbing the axe at the middle of the shaft.
Here, let me turn it so they can hear you while I keep doing this stitch. Okay, and turning it to you. Can they see you?
Just grabbing the axe at the middle of the shaft and kind of throwing it like this.
Yeah? Oh, I've seen you do that.
And then it doesn't rotate and it doesn't have enough momentum to actually stick in the target when it hits. So I told her, if you grab it closer to the end, you'll get a better effect. And her husband immediately comes up to me and says, I've been telling her that for years!
Oh, but this is not a mirror. This isn't a couple that was in today. That's like 2 years.
No,
maybe 2 years?
that's a long time ago.
Yeah, but that was
But,
awesome. If you grab it closer to the shaft, you'll get a much better effect.
Closer to the end.
Closer to the end, okay. Okay, so show them where you, just out of curiosity, if you're going to throw an axe, because I hear this is getting to be a big thing in pub life in the United States, where do you hold the axe?
Well, I'm not carrying an axe right
No,
now,
but
but
pretend that thing
you
is an
hold
axe.
it close to the end.
The very base,
So,
yeah.
like that. Not like this.
And why do you hold it at the base?
Because you want it to rotate before it hits.
Yes, it'll rotate much better, yeah. And if you throw with two hands, where do you throw the axe from? I have to tell people this one all the time. If you throw with two hands, you have to hold the axe over your head. Because if you throw it off to the side, like a lot of people want to do,
The axe might turn in your hand and then you hit yourself in the back of the head, which would be bad.
painful.
But I honestly don't like the two-handed throw because, well, okay, some very small women and children might have to do it just to get the axe to reach the target. But when they do it and the really big 200-kilogram baker behind them decides, oh, that looks cool, I'll try the same thing.
Not a baker, but a biker. Yeah.
I don't care. It might be a baker, it might be a baker. It doesn't
Biker.
care. If we have a strong guy that is throwing an axe with two hands, the axe will very easily land on the roof of the container
Yes.
or outside the village,
Yes.
which is bad. So we try to avoid that.
Yeah. Okay. I think I've got one row done on my sample here. Let's see if I can turn this around again. Whee! We're in beautiful weather.
Talking about the niche books we have in the store.
Niche books in the store. Yeah, do you want to bring? Well, go ahead. I got to do one more row on my thing here.
I used to tell it as a joke, but it is almost true.
Yeah.
That if somebody kills a lot of fish and just leaves them out to rot for a week and then comes back and photographs them, as long as they remember to call the book The Viking Guide to Rotting Fish, we are going to buy it and sell it on our store.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. We actually got a couple of them removed from our shelves. Do you want to explain those? Finally, we finally got them removed.
I don't understand the thought process behind this, but we used to have a book called Icelandic Kings. That sounds Viking-y for people who are not really into the Viking Age. But if there is one thing Iceland is pretty famous for, it is they have never had a king. Always been a republic. So when a book is called Icelandic Kings, what is the actual theme of the book?
Yeah.
So I was curious, I picked up an exemplar and just skimmed through it a little bit. Turns out this is a book about drunken Icelandic fishermen in the early 1900s.
By the way, we still have copies of the book if you want. I just have to upload them individually because they are no longer in the store. If you really want to hear about the drunken Icelandic fishermen.
Yeah, there is a postal horn and a hand grenade and some other things on the front page that also should give people a hint that this book is not about the Viking Age.
But we could probably give somebody a good deal on a book on that one if they wanted. But what was the other ones that you removed? There was one with a cowboy hat? The Viking with a cowboy hat?
Yeah.
Or something?
Something liturgy for pagan masses type thing.
Literature for the pagan masses, I think.
No.
No?
Liturgy.
Liturgy.
I've
Oh,
seen-
yeah, you're right. It was.
But it's, it is neo-pagan. It's probably very interesting for also true people and so people like that, but it has no foundation in actual history, so it shouldn't really be here.
No, because we're focusing, we're trying
And
to
yeah,
keep it
Odin
focused.
had a cowboy hat on the front page.
It was Odin had a cowboy hat, yeah. Okay. And I'll flip this around again. Let's see. Hopefully we're not going too fast. And then I got to catch up on your chat here too. Bottom one F1. Thank you. I knew there was a B in there, but it wasn't back, so it has to be bottom one F1. Okay, analysis. Bottom one F1 is that we're doing. Sometimes it's referred to as M1 F1, but it's not as good as the M stitch, the one I did, the middle one. Okay. Who orders the books, says Kaya? I think Georg picked in his top pick, but I don't know if I can blame him for that one.
Nobody is taking responsibility for the Icelandic king.
Nobody, no.
Georg blames Elin blames Georg.
Yep.
And nobody dares blame Tore.
No. Because she's the boss, she writes the checks, so it's like, no, it wasn't her. Swear to God. No, but Ailing could be a possibility, because if the central distribution, which is one of the places we get our books from, they send us a list of Viking books, and if they told us that if this is on the list, then Ailing would be like, oh, we don't have that one, let's try it, and just get 10, which I don't think we've sold any ever. I think we still had 10. So if you want a good deal on that book, I'm pretty sure we could work something out, because otherwise it's destined for donation. Now I've been ordering the books this year, but I've been sticking with the things that we've already had. A couple of new ones though. We tried one. There was this little book with it's like a little book about this big, and it's got golden pages on it. It's a blue book and it says runes. And if you like to do rune tarot card reading type runes, which questionable as it may be, that one, at least by all the diagrams and things on it, looks like it would be the perfect one.
Which runic alphabet are they using?
I have no idea. We can't keep it in stock more than like 3 days. That thing sells out like mad. So we're getting more in, but they won't be until October. But people love them. And then it's a series. I think it's a little collectible Gildan series or whatever they called it. And there's another one called Norse Myths. And that's a green one with the golden pages. And that one also we cannot keep in stock. But there's more coming in October when they finally get them again. And we tried a third one, which was called Viking Fairy Tales and Myths. Just got one to try it, because that one looked a little questionable. And you got to flip through it a bit, Karl. What did you think?
No, we can't sell that.
No, so we're not going to get that one.
Well, it is... Some of it is Viking.
Yeah.
Some of it, I have no idea what it is. And some of it is clearly Christian.
Yeah.
Light medieval or early.
Yeah, it starts moving. Well, fairy tale. It gets more into the fairy tale world, or
yes, but it's. I would say that there is so little of it that I can say with certainty is Viking. That, I don't think we should be selling it.
No. So we're not going to get it in, but we tried one just to see. So that's how we should be getting our books, though. We get one out, we try it, and then we either get a whole crap ton more, or like those other two, we can't keep them in stock. They go so fast.
One thing that kind of gets my goat hair is that if something sells well, then whatever I say about how wrong it is, it doesn't seem to buy anything anymore.
The rune one, though, it's because you and I are not big into the runes, but some people are, and
that's completely fine.
Yeah.
But we know which runic alphabet the Vikings used.
Yes.
And we know which alphabet that didn't.
Okay, clarify.
You
might as well clarify that. Yeah, the little book of you should get the little book of Calm, Karin. I could eat that book. Okay, and turn into Jesus just like they did on Black Books. Okay, go ahead. If you haven't seen the Black Book series. You remember the Black Book series with the little book of Calm? Yes, but is that
what you're asking me about?
No, I'm asking you about, oh crap, I forgot what the hell I was asking you about. The runes, the alphabet. Tell me, which one is the correct one? You might as well get it right.
You have the older Futhark, which is a pretty good alphabet with about as many letters as we have.
Yeah. Then
we have the one that the Vikings actually used, the younger Futhark, with 16 letters where they've dropped almost all the vowels.
Yeah, oops, sorry.
The bind runes and the rune reading people, they are lazy and simple-minded, so they prefer to use the old one because it is similar to our alphabet and it's pretty easy to translate back and forth. So they are making combinations of runes. Bind runes was a thing in the Viking Age, but they didn't look like the things that we now sell as bind runes. Yeah. Because they are from the older Futhark, and it's kind of dumb to say that something mythological or supernatural is made up bullshit, but this is way too recent made up bullshit. I can live with made up bullshit from the 10th century. I can't really live with made up bullshit from the 19th century. That's the problem.
So bind runes is the new debate with us, because people love them. They sell like mad.
It's not a debate at all. It is very obviously not authentic.
No, the debate is having them in the shop. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
no, but
Yeah.
that shouldn't be. Because if they sell or not sell,
Yeah.
I could sell cocaine in the shop. It would sell pretty well.
No, you can't do that.
Definitely certain. It's unlikely that the Vikings had it, but I'm sure it would be a good seller.
But we do have things like handmade pouches with zippers in them, but that's something that we're allowed to sell in the store because it's Viking. The pouch itself is Viking inspired.
And
But we
if
cannot
somebody-
have them in the village.
If somebody believes a zipper, that we are
Yeah.
representing that zippers existed in the Viking Age, well, then they are too dumb to be helped. But if we are selling a set of runes in
Mm-hmm.
a Viking shop, people will expect those runes to have something to do with the Viking Age.
Yep. So this is
And
our
that is-
our new latest
That is not exactly unreasonable for them to expect.
issue of the year. We have something every time, but this year it's bind runes. Okay, I'm gonna turn it around again, and you can see what the M1. Let's see. What is the rarest connection stitch used in Nalbinding? Oh my God, that's a question for Ingela Anderson. When she's writing actually a paper on it. So when she gets that written, you should check it out. But oh my God, she's got so many different connections. I would not even know what the most rarest one would be. Albert says, by the way, that you should try to get Bronze and Market is a good book. Oh, Bronze Og Market is a good book about archaeology from Rogaland. We could. The fact that it's a Norwegian book means we could only get a few because Norwegian books don't sell as well. You know, we're in Norway, you'd think, but no. It's so many tourists.
We basically have no Norwegian customers.
No, we don't have very many. In the winter, a little bit, but most of them are
still a super minority.
international. Yeah, so we do English.
We have about as many Norwegians as we have Swiss people.
Yep.
And that is 1/3 of and 1/3 as many as we have Dutch people. And it doesn't even hold a candle to the Americans, the French, the Germans, and the big ones.
No. Okay. What you call that one now? I gotta remember it so I don't say it wrong. Bottom one, F1. I have to. I'm better now. Sneeze. that usually comes in threes. We'll see if I have someone. Okay. So what stitch is the most rarest one in Nalbinding? I guess one that you make up every day, I would suppose. That one that Justin did. Justin James did one called he called the caribou stitch, and it looked a bit like that. Could be one that could be rare, I would think. Anything that somebody hasn't really tried.
But is there usually more than 1 or 2 finds of each stitch?
No. A lot of these are just in modern adaptation because you know any way you tie a knot, it's a stitch.
Oh, so you meant rarest nowadays?
Rarest nowadays, yeah. And I wouldn't even know, but there'd be so many. Okay, so now this is what the bottom one, F1, looks like. Again, regular Oslo for comparison. Looks like that. And it's about that thin. This yarn is slightly thicker, but you can see how much it's kind of gone in from the first row. But it is super thick. So then now when I'm on this row, it's not so easy to see what the bottom one is, but this is the bottom one, which now looks like M1, which is why Nilla said that, because that's probably true, and then F1, which is the regular F1. There we go. Do a couple more of those because I have a little bit of yarn left. But this one is, it's going to condense your row. You know, take every row it takes, it goes like this, squishes it together. Sound effect, absolutely necessary. And then you will get it tighter. So Oslo uses this connection. A with a circle over it, SLE, not Oslo, but Oslo, has a connection like this. And I recommend, if you ever do the Oslo stitch, use thin yarn, and because it gets thick super, super fast. And now, Lego, says Torben. Bite me. Oh, but I did see that Maria Lynn Hale posted a picture of a Viking Lego collection, which I think Torben needs to see as well. Okay, and I told Greg he needs to see it too, because, you know, Legos. I don't think he has that set, but it was Viking Village. Got to do it. They had axes and everything. Carl's giving me the look.
No,
Okay.
I have nothing to contribute with her.
No. Okay, so there you go. This is F1 or B1 F1 or M1 F1 as she also could be called. It decreased in size quite quickly. It's super thick, and this is the right side and the wrong side. So if you have a thinner yarn anyway and you want to do an easier stitch, you can just change the connection. And to compare it to M1 from the top down, if you can see much difference there, but but the thickness, this is much, much thicker. Okay, how many loops you use is a question about your yarn. Yeah, that's another thing too. If you have a thin yarn, you want to use more loops behind. So if we were to do, let's see, F3, but I don't have enough time to do that because it's 6. Okay, so you got F1 is there, the top one. It's a little hard to see because my stitched last row. F1, F2, but F3 you would actually be going behind the third one here. Or digger deeper. Oh my God, I can't see my yarn through here. F3. And then if you were to do the tree ears, F4, then that would be one more in, so you're kind of piercing pretty deep. But it's really hard to see it with this one. It'd be easier to see with a thin yarn. And I don't even know if I got that loop right, come to think of it. Or maybe I did. Or maybe I'm completely off. Wait. There you go. Sorry, I did go off. It's those. 1, 2, 3, F3, F4, if you're going to do F5. But when you're digging in this deep, it's going to take all your stitches and it's going to go like that and make it super, super thick. So. Torben says, nah, they've got horned helmets. He doesn't want that Lego set. I will find it for you. Albert says it's based on, oops, sorry, there we go. It's based on older sets that they had nearly 18 years ago. Torben says, this evening I will build the Superstar Destroyer. Just have to put the demon to bed. Yeah, you can't do Legos with a kid around.
Referring to his Karin.
I think, no, he's not referring to his girlfriend or wife. Yeah, no, shame on you. Okay, on that note, we did hit 60 minutes. By the way, Nella says, she's got a lot of good info here, by the way. Most of archaeological and folklore time, Nalbinding is, Nalbinding or Nalbinding, however you want to say it, is made in very few connections and uses just over a handful of stitches types. Yeah, I agree there. And yeah, Nella says, yeah, the most rare stitch. That's a good answer, actually. Best answer ever. The one that hasn't been invented yet. And then, yeah, people, okay, maybe I can try Mammon with F3. Does it make it more thicker than more dense? Yes, it would. It would definitely be thicker and dense. Karl looks like he's gonna, you really want a puff of whatever's behind your back, don't you? Oh, okay. Anyway, we can look over here a bit too. And one thing I was going to say about, but I completely forgot now, but it was very interesting. No, next week we can try a different stitch anyway. Figure something else out. What else are we going to do next week, Karl?
I just work here.
What else can we do next week?
Next week, it's going to be noticeably darker than it is now.
Yeah, we're at the end. We're getting running out of time to. This is what 7 o'clock looks like in Norway. There's the sun that has gone already a while ago behind that mountain. And each week it goes close. Well, every day it goes closer and closer to going just behind the mountain, and that's usually about the end of October. So that means it won't come back up again until the end of February, and it's going to get darker and darker, and then we have to start doing things indoors. That's usually when we start playing with strange Norwegian food.
Yeah, and it's also going to be too cold to just sit outside and do things.
Yeah.
We can dress for the occasion, but
I don't know if you can see that.
it is more pleasant to be
Yeah, you can.
inside when we get to the Norwegian winter time.
Yeah.
Because the Norwegian winter time isn't necessarily wet.
No, but it can
No,
be
it
cold.
isn't necessarily cold, but it is necessarily wet.
And not all the batteries don't like the cold weather either, so then we'd run out of battery quick. Torben says, challenge for Karl, a dance performance of Ragnarok. Well, that's what I was going to say, the pronunciation of needlebinding or Nalbinding. And everybody must hit the like button. Thank you, Torben. Albert sent you the article in the book about on Facebook for Karl, so I'll take care of that. Yes. Now, because I'm not Norwegian, so I'm going to say this. The one with the gel, I'll show you two later. Anyway, he was talking about it earlier. The look on his face. Okay, so somebody was asking on Facebook, how do you say, is it English, American way, we would say Nalbinding. We're taking the word Nalbinding, or Nalbinding, or Nalbinding, or Nal... Yeah, anyway. And we're pronouncing it, we had the American pronunciation, and we say Nalbinding. To Nalbind, I Nalbound something, Nalbinding, but...
When I speak to tourists,
What do you
always
say?
refer to it as needle binding.
Because needle binding is the direct translation,
Yes.
basically, to bind
And,
with a needle.
If I call it Nalbinding, that would be binding with a thing you make to punch holes in things.
Yes, because what is a
It's,
nal in
uh,
Norwegian? N-A-L. What is a nal? It is not a
It's a thing
needle.
you use to punch holes in things with.
No, oh yeah, that also too. Yeah,
You
for
can also use
leatherworking.
it to
That's an awl.
hammer a spike deeper into wood by putting it between the spike and
Yeah.
the hammer.
Yeah, that's an awl.
Yeah,
AWL. Yeah.
It's not a needle.
Yeah.
And the fact that the Norwegian word for needle is nål doesn't mean that you should Englishify the Norwegian word nål to be nål.
No, but a nal is also a squeegee. N-A-L in Norwegian is
Yeah.
squeegee for washing windows.
You're not particularly good
No.
at naming tools, because if you
Yeah.
ask for a nål, you will get 3 different things. But you won't get a needle.
I believe the Danish say Nalbinding, like the Norwegians, but there's another Norwegian dialect that says Nalbinding. Nalbinding, sorry. Nalbinding and Nalbinding. And then you have Swedish, which says Nalbindning and Nalbindning. So
no,
there's
but
so many
that's-
different ways to say it anyway. Needle binded it is completely wrong, Torben. Needle binded it is wrong. You needle bound something anyway. But most
I would
Americans
say that
will
you
say,
have only 2 options. And
Yeah.
considering what the other option is, it's only one option.
yeah,
So you can either call it needle binding,
yeah.
or you can call it needle bondage.
That's what Arl calls it, needle bondage. No, but it's anyway, and then a needle in Norway. If you went into, because a lot of people want to call them nulls, they want this to be something other than a needle, but it's a needle. It's like, what kind of needle? Is it a knitting needle? Is it a sewing needle? Is it an embroidery needle? It's a needle binding needle or a null binding needle. But a lot of people want to give it a special name, so they call it a null. Not a null as in anal, but null, N-A-L, but null is a squeegee in Norwegian. If you went into a store, actually N-A with a circle over it, L is nål, and nål is a needle, but then they would ask you, if you went into the store and said, I would like to buy a nål, they would say, what kind of nål would you like to buy? What kind of needle would you like to get? They wouldn't know, so that's always my pet peeve. Needle, it's a needle. All right. PJ's here too, by the way. And Amaro says, house construction. What were the floors made of? She needs this because she's making a dollhouse, a Viking one.
Many different things. You have some buildings that don't really have floors. You just put some evergreens on the ground and you step on them until they are too old, and then you get new ones. Sometimes some of our houses here, this is built by a Danish archaeological architect, and some of our houses here started out with clay floors.
Yeah.
That turned out to work horribly badly in this valley because it is too wet, so the clay never really sets.
No.
So you have wet clay on your floor forever and ever. So we ended up taking all of those houses and giving them wooden floors.
Except for 2. I noticed that that one duplex down there actually has the same original floor. But it's partially stone with a little bit of clay in between.
I don't believe... Well, the stone floors are stone floors. I think there is a little bit of clay there, but it's just to keep the stones together.
Ah, okay. Yeah, no, I thought it was the
Some
clay in
houses
between.
like that one.
Yeah, the blood
orange one.
house. Or the orange one, yeah?
There was almost no stones. It was almost clay everywhere. And that is the thing that didn't work, because you get mold in it, and the mold has a wet and happy environment, so it never leaves. And then you have angry Vikings who refuse to live there, and angry bosses who is angry because the house doesn't have Vikings in it. And
We have
a
no
little bit
drama in
later-
this village whatsoever.
And a little bit later you have a wooden floor.
Schiefer stone is what Torben writes. Yes, the stones you put in front of fireplaces. Slate.
Stone floors are also, like in the chieftain hall, we have a stone floor.
Needle
And,
bounded it. Torben,
we
you're
know
fired.
That was done at least some of the time in the Viking Age. The stave churches have stone foundations, and at least one mead hall in England has a stone foundation. The story about, if you can show the stone foundation over there.
This one here that we're sitting on?
Now the
Oh, on
one
that
the
house. Yeah, I
house.
can do that. Sorry, there we go.
The story about these are kind of funny, because we had 2 guys who did all the stonework in Viking Valley. One Polish guy and one from Lithuania, I think. And they show up early in the morning, start cutting stones and carrying stones and working with stones all day. Then they go to the hotel to eat dinner. Then I go to the gym and pump iron until it's time to go to sleep, and then I go to sleep. And then I come back next day and do the same thing again. But they were so good that we had to tell them to basically slow down. We need you to be more sloppy than this, because it looks like it's done with machines. So nobody will buy it handmade unless you make it more sloppy. So this is their idea of sloppy work. And it's really, really good.
No, it's actually really good. Considering these have also been up since 2017. So some of the tourists will come and poke at the stones and things, but okay. No, anyway, we got a lot of stuff we can talk about next week. But we should probably go. I need to feed you because you're looking kind of skinny. Iceland as well, says Albert. There was longhouses that has a stone floor.
Yeah.
And Torben says I can't fire him because I tried to fire him from saying needle bounded. Bye. See you next week. We'll find another stitch. Okay. See you. There. No. And.